We'll also talk about a few other clips, folks. Based on what Chad Steingraber says, QR codes and virtual IDs are now live through the FedNow app. There is no SWIFT on these brand new tracks. The post talks about the launch of QR code and virtual ID payments live through the FedNow service. It stresses that these are totally new rails that are not connected to SWIFT. FedNow lets people and companies pay with QR codes, which is a big change for US payments because this is already a common way to pay around the world, especially in China and Brazil. FedNow transactions that use the X9 QR code format can be completed in real time and are designed to work smoothly across multiple payment networks. This makes it easier for devices to talk to each other and makes things more convenient. FedNow is not a digital product or a blockchain network in and of itself. That's something we've talked about here. You can use it to make quick payments. The Federal Reserve set it up. It took them about 4 to 6 years to build this after years of getting together and talking about what they need. The Fed has a centralized system that lets banks and other financial firms connect with it. The Fed then handles the settlement right away. For the record, these transfers only cost 20 cents, but just to be clear, they don't use any blockchain technology. When Trump and the government talk about new blockchain lines, this is not what they mean. It says it's meant to make internal fiat transfers easier. At this point, FedNow doesn't use cryptocurrencies or blockchain by default, and it doesn't need digital assets like XRP to work. But partners offer ways to connect to FedNow, and you can use them. They just don't talk about how to use them directly. There isn't any direct connection. A lot of FedNow approved service companies work with Ripple. It is suggested that more than 70% of FedNow companies are linked to Ripple. Guys, that's a lot. That's a lot. But I think it's interesting that the US is talking about something that isn't SWIFT. I love hearing that. Before we get into this Bitcoin craziness, I want to talk about a few other things. This is a new video. This sounds good to me. The market structure bill completely changes the game because it lets current institutions join the regulatory system and know exactly what they're getting into and which regulator they'll be working with. I think that mergers and acquisitions will go through the roof as soon as there are rumors that the market structure bill will finally be passed. I believe that big Wall Street players like exchanges and banks will quickly buy their way into the space. That's it. That's the first thing, I think. Now we're ready for the wall of money. There will be a show. I think there will be a lot more partnerships and big news about that because the way forward is so clear at that point. Now that the rules are very clear, it's very easy for people at important institutions to get approvals from their committees. The House passed a bill that makes the market system very clear. Remember that XRP is one of the few digital assets that is clear about how it is regulated in the US right now. They put us through a trial for 4.5 years to get that clear. So if a bank or other financial institution wants to act right away, before new rules are put in place, there are only so many legal things they can do. And that's why there are so many agreements and collaborations with Ripple. When it comes to ETF demand, I do want to say that the demand for XRP spot products is much higher than that for Solana. Solana has only half as much demand for these new products as Ripple and XRP respectively. What effect will that have on our XRP holdings? You start to wonder how many tens of billions of dollars that will bring in over the next few years. Sorry about that, guys. I have a sore throat. I'm not sure. I hope I'm not getting sick, but I'm not feeling good. I'm putting this together for you. Please stay with me for a moment, okay? We talked about this a few days ago. I want to play here. Eleanor Terry of Crypto America was the first to report on it. Keep America safe. She is the host of. Watch that one. Always thank people who deserve it. Governor Chris Waller made big news this morning at the Federal Reserve Payment Innovation Conference. He said that the central bank is planning to create a new type of limited access master accounts, which he called skinny master accounts. That's a big deal for all legally allowed institutions to have direct access to the Fed's payment rails, so they don't have to depend on partner banks. They wouldn't be able to use all the features of the full master account after this step, like borrowing money from the FED. It's important to note that any legal body could get one, and the law wouldn't change about who could get one. In a sense, this is a new master account. The caretaker may even talk to the Fed or take them to court. It could also make it faster for companies that use it, like Ripple and Anchorage. Okay, so yes and no, we made a video about this. If Ripple doesn't get their banking license, let's say the OCC doesn't give them their national bank charter, they could try to get this. Feel free to use this idea. This isn't already a fact. They are working out how to let some of these firms, what does it say here? Fintech. It says things like fintech, stable coin producers, and other payment companies that are innovative banks. This is the plan they are putting forward if all of these want to get a Fed master account or use the Fed's payment system without having to become banks. People in banks and other financial institutions seem to be fighting back. They don't want all of these crypto companies to get a national bank charter, which is seen as the holy grail. So they're trying to think of other things they might be able to do to make that work. I did mean to play this video here. It does talk. I played this movie in chat on Tuesday because it's one of my favorites. Wow. Pay attention to this. I think that in 5 years, every object that is traded often will be traded on our blockchain. If there are $4.5 trillion in digital wallets right now, I think it's pretty clear that number is going up, not down. They can use stocks, bonds, and other standard capital market instruments. They can also use funds made by companies like Franklin and BlackRock. They will be able to use ETFs. They'll be able to use model portfolios that are on-chain and will rebalance themselves instantly when they press a button. I think these things will happen when they do. It's all coming, folks. Even though we've been saying that for a while, I think it's clear now that banks and the Federal Reserve are saying that crypto is very important and will be a part of the banking system. And we are about to fall off the edge. We're here. Okay. Senator Loomis wants the US government to sell its gold reserves to buy 5% of all Bitcoin. Let's play this clip. I just want to say that Senator Loomis has Bitcoin. It's owned by her son and her family. People from the Bitcoin world pay her to do this. This is a little, now I understand why I want to support American creativity. That's going to be like, we're America, right? That's why we should back American businesses and blockchain and other things like that. You do know that's not Bitcoin though. No one knows who made Bitcoin. The Satoshi wallet doesn't belong to anyone.